Let's talk about The Dark Descent, because no one has ever done that before. As a game that's over 14 years old at this point, about to be 15 this year, which is over half my age, which is really painful to admit and to acknowledge, it is my favorite game. Not my favorite Amnesia game. Not my favorite horror game. Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite video game of all time. Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Now, it's a bit of an odd choice, but looking at my track record of multiplayer games, with the likes of Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, Escape from Tarkov... Sure, I've put a lot of hours into these games. Around almost 600 on Counter-Strike, who the fuck knows on Call of Duty, and Tarkov almost 1,700 hours. You get the picture. I've put a lot of hours into these games, and the nature of these games require you to dedicate this many hours, a lot of hours. That's the nature of them. They're engaging. They require you to put a lot of hours into them to get the same amount of satisfaction that a lot of other people get. You get in, you get out what you put in, essentially. And that makes sense. Amnesia, however, is a 6 to 8 hour game beginning to end. There's no side quests, there's no additional things you can get besides the Steam achievements, which are really only for personal pride. 6 to 8 hours for a new player. I've played a fair bit of it. I can probably complete it in about 5 hours, just not taking anything in, just racing to the end, essentially. I have put 225 hours into this game, into a 6 to 8 hour linear game with nothing else that you can get out of it besides the main story and a few different endings. That being said, this game has no replayability. Essentially, no replayability. Because, like I said, you can't really do anything else besides complete the main game. There are custom stories and yada yada, etc., etc. You can get more use out of it than just the main story, but we'll get to that later. 225 hours on any game is about 10 whole days. It's just shy of 10 whole days. It's 9.3 blah 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 something. So we'll round it down to 9 days playing this game. I fucking love it. I love this game. I love this fucking game. And this love is shared by people who have played it, you know, the casual horror game enjoyer and critics alike. This game is a cornerstone for survival horror games and horror games for the 2010s and 2020s moving into that era of horror games. It inspired a lot of different games like Outlast, Alien Isolation. You can see the blueprints of this game carried over into these more modern games with more polish, because this game came out in 2010. And for its time, when it first came out, it took a little bit for it to really come out the gate. But it came out swinging when it did, and, you know, give it a couple more years on YouTube with the popularity of Let's Plays. It was a little popular. I mean, it kind of flew off the radar pretty quickly, and it may have launched a couple small careers on YouTube. Off the top of my head, I'll show them up on screen now. That one. Just a couple small fish. So, food for thought, you know, whatever. But besides putting a couple nobodies on the map and pretty much setting them up for life, The Dark Descent has a lot of staying power. As I said before, kind of set the framework for horror games to come, survival horror games to come, and I'm going to explain why. Like I said, I'm not the only one to have done this. By no means am I the biggest name to have done this at all. People have been doing this since the game pretty much came out. So I'm just doing this because I love this game, and this is essentially an open letter to this game, an open love letter to this game. And this is all just so amazing because this, on paper, this game is such a simple, linear, bare bones experience. On paper. But it's so much more than that. It really is. I mean, you could play it, you could say the graphics don't hold up that well. Again, I'm going to cover that and I'm going to explain why that's incorrect. To a 23-year-old standing in his bedroom with a microphone in his hand that he can barely afford, it's more than just a horror game. It's a whole body and mind experience in and of itself. And I'm going to explain why.
Don't forget, some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at Mayfair. What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is... I am Daniel.
The story starts as many do. Your player character is seemingly not doing too hot. He's a bit worse for wear. After he barfs out a bunch of rambly information at you in the cold open, we awake in the damp, blue-hued stone corridor at the gate of an unfamiliar castle. Going in blind, this is all you know up to this point. What is directly in front of you? What the fuck? What the hell did I write here? Aside from this, we learn from the intro that we are Daniel. We hail from the great London, England, specifically Mayfair. And from what we can tell from the very start, we can't forget something. Do we maybe have amnesia? Yes. You have amnesia. To sum up the story and to avoid spoilers in the grand scheme, because I feel this game, even after all these years, deserves to be preserved for anyone who hasn't played it yet, I'll give you the basic plot to start. Daniel, a young English archaeologist, finds himself in the confines of Castle Brennenburg, a manor situated in the forests of Prussia in 1839. He found himself here after an ill-fated expedition to Algeria, where he comes into possession of an orb, a mysterious artifact shrouded with otherworldly energy, that which carries with it deadly consequences for whomever comes into contact with it. After failing to find help on the matter back home, because of course he just pocketed the fucking thing, he receives an overzealous letter from a man named Alexander, offering him sanctuary and a solution to his newly acquired curse from the orb. So Daniel waddles on over to Prussia to meet with Alexander at Castle Brennenburg. Sparing a lot of the in-between details while still avoiding spoilers, Alexander's ulterior motives begin to show, and Daniel is now on a mission to stop Alexander.
Go to the inner sanctum, find Alexander, and kill him. His body is old and weak, and yours, young and strong. He will be no match for you. Redeem us both, Daniel. Descend into the darkness where Alexander waits and murder him. Your former self, Daniel.
It's a tale as old as time. Revenge, redemption, and atonement. Daniel drugs himself with an amnesia potion, represented by these pink piss dribbles on the floor throughout the early stages of the game. This is your main driving force throughout the game, and most of the plot devices and lore are told to you through physical observation based on visual storytelling and set dressing, as well as through notes and diaries collected throughout the game. These notes can be seen again in case something was missed at any time by viewing the player's journal or by pressing J on the keyboard. This form of storytelling offers an interesting experience to the player, because just as easily as you could find this world building, you can also miss it in the same breath. While normally I think this could be divisive in many different mediums, I think it aids this tight package of a game experience. Chances are brand new players are more likely to miss a handful of notes on their first or second or third or fourth playthroughs. Regardless of how you approach it, this is a horror game. Emphasis on game. You are meant to play it and there is a goal, and you can complete the game without reading a single line of words in a note. But by the end, the amount of depth and passive world building that this game drip feeds you leaves you wanting more. It's not just a horror game, it's a story. It unravels into a study of human emotion and morality. Maybe that sounds a bit contrived, and it may be hard to see that side of it on first glance, but by the actions of the player character Daniel, the aforementioned Alexander, as well as other characters woven into the story, there's definitely no doubt that this game invites a lot of morally ambiguous themes and motives that make you think, who is really deserving of forgiveness or redemption here? Who am I rooting for? Whew. Big words. Big words. Ah, fuck. How do I make this funny? I got it. 2 birds, 1 stone. Now, to appease the people who just want me to spoil the game, here's the entire plot summary from the wiki page. Sources cited, like a good boy, of course. Spoiler warning. You're probably not going to be able to make out a lot of what I'm about to say, but I'm just letting you know now, to cover all my bases, spoiler warning, until this time. Skip here. Skip here. Right here. Right here. If you don't want anything spoiled. Okay, bye. On the 19th of August, 1839, a young man awakens in the dark and empty halls of Brandenburg Castle in Prussia with no memory about himself or his past. All he can remember is that his name is Daniel, he lives in Mayfair, and that someone or something is hunting him. Shortly after regaining consciousness, Daniel finds a note he wrote to himself, which informs him that he has deliberately erased his own memory and is being hunted by a shadow, an unearthly presence that manifests itself through fleshy acidic growth spreading throughout the castle. The note instructs Daniel to descend into the inner sanctum of the castle in order to find and kill its baron, Alexander. As he makes his way through the castle, Daniel gradually learns both about its mysteries about his own past, through notes and diaries he finds, as well as through the hidden flashbacks and sudden visions. The origin of the situation is mysterious, or that he recovered from the Tin Man tomb in Algeria, which unleashed the shadow. Each of the experts he contacted and consulted in person about the orb were later found gruesomely dismembered. Disturbed by this, Daniel desperately exhausted all archaeological leads into the strange orb until he is contacted by Alexander, who summoned him to Brandenburg. There, Alexander informed him that the shadow was slowly stalking and killing everyone he came in contact with, and will not stop until it kills him as well. Alexander promised the means of repelling the shadow by ritualistically coating the orb with a vitae substance, which could only be harvested from living humans experiencing extreme pain and agony. However, Alexander's true purpose is to use Daniel's vitae to return to his native dimension from which he was banished centuries prior. To achieve this end, Alexander and Daniel gathered vitae by torturing prisoners in the castle dungeons, many of whom were innocent people that Alexander claimed to be murderous criminals. To maximize the production of vitae, the victims were forced to consume a potion that induced amnesia so they could never grow accustomed to their torment. Unbeknownst to Daniel, application of vitae to the orb only served to further enrage the shadow in addition to briefly repelling it. He had been doomed from the start. Increasingly desperate to escape the impending shadow, Daniel became sadistic in his attempts to harvest vitae and accidentally killed 2 escaping prisoners, a mother and her young daughter, in a fit of rage. Following the final ritual, Alexander sensed Daniel's guilt, declining faith in him, and left him for dead as a result. Realizing how Alexander had manipulated Daniel's revenge and consumed the amnesia potion in order to overcome his paralyzing guilt. As Daniel nears the inner sanctum, he encounters Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, a man who had once studied the orbs of the student Johann Weyer, and has since been kept alive and imprisoned by Alexander due to his extensive knowledge on the subject. He tells Daniel that Weyer has been able to harness the power of the orbs and travel between dimensions, and instructs him in finding the shattered pieces of what used to be his own orb, which is needed to reach the inner sanctum. Agrippa also asks Daniel to take with him his head, which can be severed alive using a tonic invented by Weyer, and throw it into the interdimensional portal after Alexander opens it. Once Daniel enters the inner sanctum, he finds Alexander preparing to open the portal. From here, there are 3 possible endings. If the player does nothing, Alexander enters the portal, leaving Daniel to be killed by the shadow and descends into the darkness. While Alexander tells him his sacrifice will be forever celebrated. If the player prevents the portal from opening by knocking over its support columns, the shadow kills Alexander and spares Daniel, allowing him to leave the castle content with his redemption. If the player throws Agrippa's head into the portal, the shadow kills both Alexander and Daniel in the darkness. Agrippa assures Daniel that everything will be alright, calling upon Weyer to help him. There's a semi-secret ending you can encounter earlier in the game if you wait in the cells after you've been captured. If you just wait there for 10 minutes, you'll be killed by the shadow and the game will end, and Alexander thanks you. I've changed my clothes, and I'm sitting down now. Let's talk about aesthetics. Going back to my dick-headed and slightly soapboxy comment about how the graphics in this game do hold up, and that saying otherwise is wrong, that's 100% my own opinion, and I'm slightly at a bias here. You know, I have 200 and almost 30 hours in the game. I mean, for Christ's sake, I'm making a video that's approaching, God only knows, at this point, probably almost 20 minutes, about a 15-year-old game, and everything I'm saying could be summed up in about 3 words. I like it. But let me dive in to what I said, and while I mean it in a much less pretentious way, I stand by what I said. In a world where now all that anyone seems to be dropping their pants for anymore is graphical quality and how many light probes or god rays you can cram into a $50 to $70 slop fest, I feel that the original purpose of what makes a game great, or rather what could or should be paid attention to, is often overshadowed by, holy fucking shit, look at how amazing that gravel texture looks, or god damn, you ever see the fucking tessellation on that cobblestone? Wow, really looks amazing. Did you know that tessellation actually isn't a 3D object even though it looks like it? It's just a graphical projection. It's just a bunch of layers of pictures stacked on top of each other and... Hold on, let me back up. What we are able to do and process graphically now is amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Unreal Engine 5, even Unity, the newest versions of Unity, they look great. What you can do with these tools is essentially up to whoever is behind the keyboard or whoever has the vision. And I'm not at all saying that I don't ogle and fawn over graphical fidelity or textures or anything like that. I'm guilty of that. I love art. I like to draw. I like anything like that. I'm drawn to shapes, colors, textures, whatever. And again, the fact that these tools are readily available to not only AAA studios, indie studios, and dumb, smelly idiots like myself, who can just press download on a web page, and there you go. You have the ability to make something that looks photorealistic, or, can support ray tracing, or anything like that. What you get what I'm saying. It's incredible. And let me back up even further. On the other end of the spectrum, I'm not even fully correct or concrete in my elitist opinion on all anyone ever cares about is graphics, or blah, 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 anything like that. It's not true, and there's examples of that. It shows through especially recent examples of games with intentionally minimalist graphics. A few that come to mind are the Faith trilogy, which are styled after 8-bit Atari graphics, Mouthwashing, which is kind of like PlayStation graphics if I had to guess, and Iron Lung. I feel like in the 2020s that was kind of the one that skyrocketed it into popularity, and now they're making a movie about it. These games are from 2017, 2022, and 2024 respectively, and are all intentionally styled after older generations of computer graphics and console graphics. It feeds off of this implied nostalgic lens, and almost gives it an uncanny or more believable effect. Case in point, in the same year that the Faith trilogy was released, Resident Evil 7 was released. Apples and oranges, Faith, an indie studio, and Resident Evil 7, fucking Capcom, and they're totally different looking games. Completely different looking games. Do I necessarily think that Resident Evil 7 was attempting to look like the most realistic game? No, but they were using the technology that they had to make a good looking game. But they were both made to the same effect, to entertain, to scare, etc., etc. So what the fuck all am I talking about right now? I'm talking about different games in a video that is supposed to be focused on Amnesia: The Dark Descent. A game that I love. So, Amnesia, where does that leave it? It's objectively casting all of my biases aside, leaving my love for it at the door. It's a dated looking game. It's a product of its time. It's from 2010. It's 15 years old. It's old. It looks old. Under the paint, you can see the scratches. But it's stylized in its own way. It's made by people with a vision. Stylized. Unique. Art. It's kind of an enigma, too, because I can't really tell if they were trying to make it look amazing. Probably not. They're a small indie studio. I think they have like 15 or 30 employees or something. I'll put a correction up on the screen if I'm wrong. But what can be said for certain is that in future titles, they definitely utilized more graphical power with the newer generations of the engine that they use. With Rebirth, they clearly went crazy with the light probes and the god rays, like I said earlier. And the textures, too. They look much better. They're much higher quality. But that's probably mostly just because of the technological capabilities that they have with newer computers, because that game came out in 2020, 10 years after the original one did. They look way better, and they're comparable to modern titles. Art! Hold on. Time out. This guy, he's been talking for way too fucking long, and he's starting to lose your interest. I can tell. Trust me, I'm on your side, alright? I'm looking out for you. And me. Now it's time for me to take over. What? No. I'm not the same guy without glasses and he got contacts and got a haircut and also is wearing a different shirt. I'm not the same guy. That's not me. I'm not the same guy. I'm just not. I'm not the same guy who was going to edit the video up to this point and then got frustrated with DaVinci Resolve and then stopped it and basically scrapped the project for good until he got some weird spark of motivation and decided to kick it back up and open Resolve and start working on it again. That's not me. That's not the same guy. I'm not the same guy. I'm a new man. Anyways, to wrap up what I was saying, because holy shit, I'm talking a whole fucking lot. There's something that can be said with this era of video game. This 2010 horror game from an indie game studio. Not a lot of people working on this. They worked with what they had, and they made something pretty damn good with an engine that they made from scratch. And that's why I think it's unfair to draw the conclusion that the game looks bad, therefore it's dated and null. I don't think that's fair at all. Obviously. Just as much as I'm entitled to my stupid opinion that I'm being very bold-faced about and kind of being an asshole about, and I'm trying not to be, everybody else is entitled to theirs as well, obviously. It's just wrong, though. Again, I'm biased. And I know that I just said I'm going to put all my bias at the door, and I am. Objectively, I'll go back to that. The game looks old. It looks dated, etc., etc., etc. But I don't think that's a fair point to bring up when saying that the game isn't worth playing. And not a lot of people are saying that, but I still think that this game deserves its flowers. And I don't think many people will disagree. I'm basically just making this video because I can't fucking get over this game, and I don't know why, and I need help. Help me. Please help. Let me go ahead and wrap this up by talking about the environment very briefly. I'm just going to touch on it because I think the game really speaks for itself. A dingy castle. It's raining outside. You don't know why you're here for the first 30 minutes of the game, I would say. And then it becomes more clear. Everything looks like it's falling apart around you. And there's the shadow, which we mentioned earlier, this weird pink web bullshit. What is that? Why is it here? Why am I here? So all of these visuals combine together to give you this very gloomy, dark, moody, Lovecraftian masterpiece. And then we get into the audio of the game. This guy, Tapia Lukonen, holy shit. When you're not actively being pursued and chased by a threat in this game, you think you are. Because you don't know what the hell you just heard from the other room that you just came from, and you're like, wait, I was just in there. But better yet, I have to go that direction. But there's a horrible, creaky, groany sound coming from that direction. It sounds like there's birds or something flying. Like, what the hell's going on? I need help. Please help me. But you go there, and there isn't always something to be afraid of. There just isn't. That's the thing about this game, is that it shows you the active threats very sparingly. Very sparingly. It's such a trope nowadays in a lot of modern horror games, and especially horror movies, to just show you everything. Here it is. We have to make ends meet on the budget that we spent on this model right here for this scary thing or this makeup artist or whatever, and all credit due to the people who do that type of stuff. Modern makeup and 3D artists and all that kind of stuff, and texture designers and artists, absolutely. Animators, I tried my hand in animating. It's fucking hard. It's not their fault that the people who are making these games, the people who are taking their assets and putting them onto paper, metaphorically putting them onto paper, they're driving them into the fucking dirt by showing them all the fucking time. All the fucking time. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Listen to me. I'm telling you, please, I'm begging you. For modern horror games, don't do that. Please. It doesn't work. You lose all of the buildup and the tension and everything by just shoving the monsters and the threats down the player's throat and being like, look at this fucking scary thing. Look, he has no eyes. Look at him. He's scary. He's got big fucking teeth. I need to calm the fuck down. I'm sorry. You see it in movies all the time. Movies and games and everything. It's all show, no tell. This game does a perfect balance of showing you, here it is. This is the threat. This could be a threat. This thing that you heard over here, you don't know. It doesn't ham-fist anything. Everything just relies on you accomplishing your goal and getting through whatever the hell you have to get through towards the end to get there. And by doing so, you don't know what the fuck is around the corner. You just don't. And that is why it works so well. All of this to say that sometimes working with what you have is all that matters. You don't need like crazy realistic graphics and what the fuck am I don't even know if this is real life or if this is Outlast, or I don't even know if this is real life, or oh my god, I'm in Terraria. What matters most sometimes is taking what you have, making the most of it, and being smart about it. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. It helps sometimes. It really does help if that is the point of the game, is to be visually, it relies on visuals, but you still have to be smart about it. You cannot just ham-fist it and expect it to be as impactful as things can be. And I think, just to wrap it up and put a bow on it, that this game, where it lacks in texture fidelity or graphical capabilities, it makes up for in environment, aesthetics, and clever game design. Now that I have thoroughly exhausted myself and probably you, let's move on to the last section of this video. In this final section, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier in the video, where I mentioned that this game has a lot of staying power, as is evident by the fact that me, am sitting here and talking about this game 15 years after it's come out and the hype around it has all but died. People are still talking about it. Frictional games got put on the map because of this game. Retrospectively, people went back and played Penumbra and all of those other games, and people made fan mods about Penumbra and everything in the modding community around this game. Isn't as lively as it used to be, but it is still alive. But 15 years later, 15, 1, 5, 10 plus 5, 3 times 5 years later, this game is still being talked about, and its blueprints and DNA can still very clearly be seen in a lot of modern horror games, like I mentioned before, like Outlast, Alien Isolation, etc., etc. But at its core, Amnesia: The Dark Descent is a survival horror game, which nowadays is a very popular genre. And I'm not saying it's the first. It's not the first, but I think it was the most accessible one. And a lot of that is due in part to the fact that it had so much coverage by Let's Players on YouTube. Honestly, I mean, like, that also, just as much as that game put those people on the map, along with their personalities, it also got put on the map because of those people. Because it was made popular by these people, now people know about it. More than they would have probably known about it before. Because, as a reminder, this game almost made frictional games go under. Pre-development, this game was expected to be a flop. Thankfully it wasn't. Now Frictional Games is a relatively well-known company, and they're making games that are 10 times the quality that this game was when it first came out, except for one, which I think wasn't a very good game, but I've already talked about that, and I didn't like Rebirth. Sorry, I didn't. And again, I understand the fact that there is a lot of bias in this, because I am nostalgic for this game, and I kind of grew up playing this game, but I can't get over the fact that this game makes me feel a certain type of dread, but also joy when I play it. All in all, I think this game is perfectly rounded in all of its corners. It's a very tight, organized, and constructed package of a game. And I don't think that that is something that should be overlooked because it looks muddy or whatever. It's still not a bad looking game. The aesthetics that it carries from what the development team had to work with and this creation that they all collaborated on and made, it works. It doesn't need flashy graphics or anything like that. There are a lot of empty moments in this game where you're trying to solve a puzzle, or you're looking through a note, or you're whatever, or you're crafting something, or whatever the case is. You are trying to get from point A to point B, and along that way, you're going to run into a lot of moments where you're going to stop and wait because you don't trust what's around that corner. And I just think that's really special. Do I think it's the last game to have done that? No. Not at all. Do I think it's the first? No. Not even close. But I think for the modern era, it's done it the best. And yeah, that's about all I have to say. So I'll catch you next time. I'll be working on more stuff. And it might not come out for another 6 months, but sorry. Goodbye. I'm jumping in here really quickly. Oh my god, it's me from the future. I'm editing this video right now, and while I'm looking through all of the files in the Amnesia directory to put in here for the music and the sounds and whatever, I came across something that I swear to god I have never heard in this game at all ever before. So real quick, I'm going to flash up another spoiler warning, potential spoiler warning ahead. Go ahead and take a listen to this. This is supposed to play at the end of the game when you choose a certain ending and Daniel dies. I told you, spoiler warning, Daniel dies. Your player character dies. And I swear to God, I have never heard this sound played during that ending before. Take a listen. What the fuck? God damn, dude. These voice actors putting his whole heart and soul into it. I heard this when I was just, clicking on random files and everything, and I nearly shit my damn trousers. This shit is blood curdling. Again, I could be wrong. I swear to God I've never heard this in the game before. So, yeah, I just wanted to pop in and share that real quick. Anyways, yeah. Sorry for the kind of abrupt ending there, but felt like I had just been talking a lot. So didn't really have much else to say. This whole video was kind of just an opinion piece anyways. So yeah, just sharing my love for this game. So go play it. Go play the game. It's a good game, very good game. It might be on sale right now. I don't know. Go play it. Or go outside, or do something, or I don't know, pick up a guitar or play piano, I don't know. But thank you for watching. If you stuck around this long, I love you, I appreciate you, and goodbye.
Thank you, my friend. You will be celebrated